All right, y'all. I'm back. I'm here with another episode. If y'all are, if y'all are subscribed to me, then y'all know the difference, right? Y'all could tell. Got my ring light. Got my mic now. I'm trying to take this shit seriously. All right, so let's get to it. All right. So we're on episode 4. Okay. So we start off. We are in Crenshaw, California. Shout out to Crenshaw. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. And so we see Coach Mosley. He is in the church or whatever. He is, I believe they said he's an assistant pastor. I think that's what they said about him. And he talks about how he doesn't get his salary. Nobody there gets his salary, and it's like really it's just like a small black church or whatever. And he kind of gives us his background of how he kind of got there. He went to a Christian college. I think it was called Master's College. I think that's what it was called. And he said when he went to school there, and he did kind of tell us for a little second before that he thought he would get into a Division I school, but no, it didn't work out that way. So he had to go to this school. And so he said he ended up doing one of the, you know how like some of the churches, they have like missionary trips and stuff, like you go to another country or another continent and you help people that are like less fortunate there. And he was like, I went and I did that, and I was, playing basketball because they do that a lot, but I was also preaching in between. And he said what I realized is like I could be doing that like down the street from me versus all the way over here, which I'll go on a whole tangent about how I feel about missionary trips. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. So then he came up with this thing. It was called Save Through Hoops, okay? Which, again, he was, preaching, but they were doing basketball at the same time. And then we meet his wife a little bit more, Miss LaShonda, okay? And, she said that her husband cares a lot about, the men, especially specifically the black men in society. I'm sorry, Coach Mosley cares about the black men that most of society wants to throw away. There we go. Got that right. Yahtzee got it. Okay. And so, Joe talks about, how Coach Mosley like prays for him. He was like, there's only 2 people I know that pray for me. I said, I already know, your mama and your grandmama. What he say? My mom and my grandmother. That's right. We all need a praying grandmother and mother, but specifically a praying grandmother. Top notch. You can't mess with her. You can't mess with her. And so he was like, if I need him right now, like he'll probably be up waiting by the phone right now, waiting for me to call him. So he cares. I think they asked Deshaun about how they feel about him preaching. He was like, he's a preacher, so he gonna preach, but like ego, and I don't really pay him no attention or anything. And then Coach Rob talks about what I talked about on the first episode, which is that he doesn't curse at all. Talking about Coach Mosley, he does not curse. But the way he be going off on them, you would think that he cussed. He be using jive, turkey, and sucker, and bull jive, and he cracks me up. It's hilarious to me. So then we got 28 days until playoffs, okay? Now, Coach Rob is talking about Joe and Sean and how important they are to the team. And when I say Sean, I mean Deshaun when I'm saying that. Just, y'all should know that by now, okay? If either one of them have like 3 bad games, like they're pretty much fucked, which says a lot about their talent and how much they're like contributing. I don't want to say carry, but contributing to the team. So I think that's interesting. So Coach Rob was like, if you look at the stats, when Deshaun plays well, they all play well. He's a great, and I've been said this before, but Deshaun is a really good leader. He's a good captain of that team. He's very like encouraging. He's a really, really, really good leader, like for real. And so we get to Deshaun, and again, Deshaun is he's having a really bad slump as far as like shooting. Like he's just not. Everything is just pink, 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 pink. Like nothing is falling. Nothing is falling at all. And Coach Robs talks about how as a shooting guard, because he was one, he's like, if you can't make baskets, like you really don't know what to do with yourself, because your whole existence is based on making shots. So if you're not making shots, it's like, what is the point of me even being here? Or what's the point of me even being alive? Like, what the hell is going on here? And so, he was like, every other person on this team and every other position can make it up in other ways. Like a point guard, if you don't make points, you can do this, you can do that. But as a shooting guard, that's your job, to make shots. But I do appreciate about Deshaun, regardless of like how frustrated he was getting, he kept going. He wasn't giving up. That young man is a fighter. Okay. So then we go and we meet Coach Mosley's family. Okay. He talks about how being single is overrated, which That's a fact. It really is. After, I mean, it's cool, but after a while, it gets like, it gets boring. It gets lonely. Like, you know what I mean? So, you know, he talks about how the foundation of his marriage, like with his wife, is God, point blank, period. You know, he comes in the house, and I found it so interesting that like he lives in like, I guess what you would call like a smaller type of house or whatever. Like compared to the people that's on Last Chance U, he has a much smaller house. Which we'll get to in a second. But he has a daughter that plays basketball because she was talking about it when he came in, and then he has another girl and then one boy. So he talks about how he was a Division I coach at one point in time, but he wanted to spend more time with his kids. You know, like he said, I think something about like his daughter, when he came in, his daughter was like, when she was younger, like, oh, you're staying with us, daddy? And it's like, these coaches be having to do a whole lot. Back to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. One of the wives on there, her husband is he's a basketball coach of a Division I school as well, and he's never there. Like he's gone for weeks at a time. So I mean, yeah, and they live in a big lavish ass house, but she's always there by herself. You know what I mean? He even missed her father's funeral. That's how busy he was. So that's the life that you won't get into if you want to be a Division I coach's wife. Period. So then we get on to Miss LaShonda, okay, and you know how she double majored in some Asian language. I think, yeah, I think he said in the Asian language, like, so she speaks Mandarin, she speaks Spanish because she lived in China and in Spain. I said, you better come through with the smarts. Come through, black woman, with the experience, the travel, and the knowledge. Come through. I'm here for it. I love it. Love to see it. Okay. You know, he talked about how they met as freshmen in college, and you know they married about a year after, which I said I find that funny because last episode you was telling them don't marry, don't well, I don't want to say don't marry, but don't get a girlfriend and focus on what you focused on. But it leans to what I said, which is if you can find the right one, then go ahead, because all she gonna do is make you better. That's it. That's she makes you better. She makes you better. That's pretty much all it is. Okay, so he said he coached at the college that he went to, Masters, for 8 years, and then he went to Cal State Bakersfield, and he coached for 6 years there as an assistant coach. He said, you know, as a Division I coach, though, he was going like at a week, like at a time, and so when it came to the junior college, he just realized, you know, I think this is what I want to do because I want to be home. I don't want to have to miss my kids this and my kids that and my kids this just because I'm trying to like pursue whatever it is that I want to do for myself. I feel like I can pursue what I want to do in a different way. And, you know, he said that they took a really, really, really big pay cut, but it is what it is. And I said, you want to know what? You deserve, I don't want to say you deserve a whole lot of praise, but that's commendable because a lot of men would not. They would just pretty much expect their wife to just be okay with it, and they really wouldn't give a fuck until, you know, they'll be like, well, look at this big ass house I provide, and look how little money I provide. Yeah, but where's the time spent? Where is the time being spent with your family? It's gone. It is none. Okay, so yeah, so appreciate that. Okay. Alrighty, so then we go to practice. Sorry, y'all. So then we get to practice, okay? We got 26 days until playoffs. Deshaun was not sprinting up and down the court. Like, okay, when they was running, you know, their drills, he wasn't really running up and down the court. He was like more so walking. And then they get to this one little play, and like, I don't know if the ball was supposed to come to him or whatever, but like, he was just standing there like both times. They did it twice, and he was just kind of like just sitting there scratching his head, and it was just like, what the fuck are you doing? So Mosley just went the hell off. Like, he really snapped the fuck out on him. He was like, bro, like, you're a leader at the end of the day. Which, did he go off? And he didn't necessarily have to go off, but he did make a valid point, because he was like, look, you may be able to just turn it on when you get into the game, which we'll get to in a minute. He said, but everybody else is not like that, and you're the leader, so that means that you're supposed to show and prove. You're just standing there when you could have went and tried to at least attempt to go get like the fucking rebound, but you didn't. You just stood there and watched everybody else, and if you're a leader, that's not how this fucking goes. So again, he didn't have to go off like that, but I do think he made a valid point by saying, Deshaun, you can't just stand there, especially if you're the leader. You have to prove Like, show and prove, show and prove, show and prove, young men, show and prove. So of course Deshaun gets pissed the hell off and he goes off and he's talking to somebody. He was like, how you gonna come at your leader in front of everybody else about leadership? So I kind of get that point from Deshaun, but at the same time, which we'll get there. We're going to get there right now, because then he goes to talk to Coach Sean, and Deshaun goes to talk to Coach Ken. Sorry, my words are all jumbled. Deshaun goes to talk to Coach Ken, and he says to him like, oh, well, you guys don't trust me or whatever. And Coach Ken is like, it's not that, but like, you do have things that you need to improve on. And what did he say? He said, he pretty much was saying that, like, regardless of me messing up, when it comes to like game time, I always like show and prove. And Coach Ken was like, I'm not saying that you don't, show out, but there are things that you need to be worked on, that needs to be worked on. And Deshaun's like, well, I'm not saying I'm perfect, but that is how you're acting pretty much. And I find it confusing, Deshaun, in this particular episode. I mean, I don't have no problem with him. I'm just saying, in this particular instance, I think it was the last episode that the first half of that game, you sucked. You didn't hit anything. It wasn't until the second half that you really started to pick up. So no, when it comes to game time, you might pull it out at the end and win, but you don't do everything that you're supposed to do. And that's what they're trying to say. And you need to be able to be coached. You can't just be, listen, even LeBron needs to take some tips. Even Steph needs to take some tips. Even if they do win back to back to back to back, it doesn't matter. You can still always improve. And, like, somebody can check you. Like, you ain't nobody that can't be checked at all. You know what I mean? So yeah. So like I said, so regardless of that, so they kind of go back and forth about that, Coach Ken and Deshaun. Then we get to the guards meeting. And let me see. I got here, Malik is hitting a 56% field goal. Why is that? I'm pretty sure you can do more than that, Malik. And I think that's what Coach Rob was saying too. You can do better than that, okay? Then we get on to Marquise, which we kind of touch on him a little bit, a decent amount this episode. And what did he say? He was like, oh, so you soft with your mentality. And Marquise gonna say, I mean, I ain't saying I'm soft. I'm just not as aggressive. I died laughing. That was hilarious to me. That one part was hilarious. So, yes, this is the part right here that to me, this whole little itty bitty section right here was to me one of the best parts of the series so far, because I talked about it, I think, on the last episode or the episode before. So Coach Rob says, you can't get mad about the time you don't have, because when you do get the time, you need to make the most out of that opportunity. And this is when we start to meet and get introduced to the bench players, okay? The bench players and the reserves. This whole thing was very, 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 very interesting to me, okay? So Coach Mosley talks about how they don't know specifically what their rotation is going to be yet. They have 10 players that they're rotating in and out. They feel like nobody has really rose to the top, probably other than like Joe or Deshaun or something like that, maybe KJ. But outside of those three, nobody is really like doing what it is that they need to do to show the fuck out. And so, he was like, I want them to fight for more time. That's why I'm doing it this way, right? And so we see Marquise, and he's on his little bicycle. He talks about, how he only played 4 minutes or whatever. And so we meet Marquise. What is his name? Mark Boland, who is a reserved guard. Chris Scooter Seth, I think that's what it says. And he's a backup guard. And who else? We got Taj. We got, I think his name is Samin. Is it Samin or whatever? All of these young men pretty much all said the same thing. Marquis said that his hardest part about being on a bench is that you always have to stay ready. And he wasn't the only person that said that. And I'm just a little bit confused, because if you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. That's not just a basketball thing. That's an everyday, that is a literal everyday life mantra. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. It might be, I don't know, a little bit annoying, a little bit taxing, or whatever the fuck you want to call it, but it's a necessity. Stay ready so you don't have to fucking get ready, okay? And then, you got, let me see. Mark Boland says that he's upset about also not getting the time, and he thinks that for whatever reason he's not liked. I don't think it has anything to do with that. And then you got all of the other guys are pretty much saying that they are used to starting from where they come from, which is what I said on the last episode, which is like, you guys come here, and because y'all are so used to being that man in y'all school or y'all city or y'all state, y'all think that y'all gonna come somewhere else and it's gonna hold the same. Okay, my thing is, let me take a player. Who's a player that's like Karis LeVert? I love Karis LeVert. I'm LeVert hive all day, right? However, I'm pretty sure that like before Karis LeVert got to the NBA, he probably was the top dog. Actually, he was like definitely one of the top people at the college that he went to. But I'm pretty sure in high school he was like a top dog. And then when he went to college, he probably was one of the top dogs. This is probably why he got recruited. But then, and even on the Brooklyn Nets at one point in time before the whole acquisition, all these people come in, he was one of the top scorers and stuff like that. Him and Jared Allen and stuff like that. They was out there killing it. But then guess who came to town? KD, Kyrie came to town. You are no longer the best person on that team or one of the best people on that team. Then James Harden came. They literally traded Karis LeVert and a couple other people for James Harden. Do you want to know why? Because you're just not as good of a player. So it doesn't stop at the level that you're at now. You're going to have to get used to not being that guy. Everybody is not going to be LeBron. Everybody's not going to be Steph. Everybody's not going to be a marquee player. And you have to be okay with that. Like, you have to. I'm trying to see y'all. You got to be okay with that. And so, like I said, I got it right here. Coach Rob says, your talent starts to run out at every level, but you have to learn how to deal with that. Now, Marquise, he throws a little shade and says, if I'm being real, I think that Mosley owed loyalties to certain people, and I don't think that certain people should start. I said, so why don't you just be a big dog and say it? Say you feel like Deshaun and Joe are the people that he owe. You feel like he's specifically loyal to them, and that's why they start. Why don't you just be a big dog and say it? Just say it. Just say it. But you can't say that them niggas is not nice, though. Feel me? Are you nicer? I'd have to see the stats to back that up. But don't come for Joe. Don't come for Deshaun. Unless you want to say names. You feel me? Because I caught that. I know I'm not the only person who caught that. Why didn't you just say who it was? It is what it is. Like, be big dog. Stand up in your shit. Say what you need to say. What they going to do? Fight you? And if so, what? Fight back. So then we get to practice or whatever. And I don't know who didn't do something that he didn't like. I don't know who it was. But somebody did something. I think maybe it was Malik who did some shit that Mosley didn't like. And he snapped the hell out. And then he tells all of them to get on the baseline. This whole scene, I was cracking the fuck. I was crying. It was too funny. So he tells them to get on the line. So I'm pretty sure they thinking like they about to do sprints or do suicides or something. And Coach Mosley just start walking around the court. Not saying nothing, just walking around the court. And Deshaun is like, he does weird shit all the time. Like, I guess it's to get our attention in a different way. But he's always doing some weird ass shit. This nigga, Mosley, did not say a word for 8 minutes and 9 seconds. I could not stop laughing. Them young men were so confused and getting aggravated, and I was here for it. That is hilarious to me. And so, back to the whole thing about, people not getting their time, Mosley said the hardest part right now is making sure that everybody is getting involved so that they can have the opportunity to get a scholarship. However, he said that when he was younger, he had the same mentality. And somebody said to him one day, John, you're just not good enough. I said, yes. It's really just that simple. Like he said, people don't want to say that to other people because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. But it's true. Sometimes you're just not good enough. You're just not. Like, I don't play basketball or anything like that. So I wouldn't be offended if somebody said you're just not good enough. But there are certain things that I'm not good enough at. And that is okay. It's okay. It happens. I can, like, for instance, I can do a little do-do-do-dum. Do-do-do-do-do-dum. Yeah, do-do-do-dum. Yeah. Like I could do a little bit of something. That sounded a hot mess right there. Like I can sing a tad bit, but I'm not a Mariah Carey. Do you feel me? I'm not good enough to sing professionally. At least not to me. I can keep a little. Don't walk away, boy. Don't walk away. My love won't hurt you. No. Like I can keep it cute, right? But I'm not good enough to be a professional singer. That doesn't hurt my feelings. That's okay. I understand the lane that I'm in. Understandable, okay? That's why they got headphones and showers, okay? So you can go off. So then we got 24 days left. Ooh, how much time I got here? Okay, 24 days left, right? Until the playoffs, okay? And then we get, oh Lordy, Kobe and Gigi. Oh Lord, bless them. Rest in peace to Kobe, Gigi, and everybody else that was on that plane. That shit shook me to my core. I have a video up of when that happened. That shit messed with me for a couple of days. Like it was a couple of days that it took me to like not have that on my mind. Like Joe said, Kobe was literally our Michael Jordan. That's not like a overstatement or anything. That is a fact of the matter. Growing up, I am 26. Growing up, Kobe, Shaq, AI, Tracy, Vince Carter, even Melo, the big three, Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, damn, I can't even think of the last fucking person. These were the times that we were living in. You know what I mean? I don't even want to get into it because I'm actually I don't want to get my feelings about it, okay? Everybody was really sad. They ended up canceling practice. Mosley's daughter played against Gigi. Like, just... I'm going to move on. I don't want to talk about it. So, because they took a day off, okay? The next day when Coach Rob is coming in and setting everything up, he's like, Mosley about to be aggravated because he do not like when we take days off, because in his head it's like you take one day off, it takes a couple more days to kind of get back to where you need to, which I can understand and I can agree, because it's rhythm, it's routine, it's rhythm, it's routine. So when you break your routine or you break your habit or you break whatever your rhythm is, then yeah, that can kind of mess up what it is that you're doing. So I get that. So Deshaun didn't come to practice because he had a court case. And yeah, he was just snapping the whole practice. Mosley was snapping the whole practice because nobody was really playing full out. People was fucking getting hurt. Marquise over here fucking limping. You know what I mean? It was just a lot going on. But Coach Ken said the real reason that Coach Mosley is stressing out is because he knows that he doesn't have a lot of time to get all of these kids scholarships, and it's really like just kind of taking a toll on him. And so, yeah. So then we get to game day, okay? And they're going against Pasadena City, okay? They, of course, dedicate the game to Kobe, give us a little 24 seconds of silence, okay? So the game starts, right? My nigga Joe over here on the bench making comments and little snide remarks about Malik on the floor. Hey. When you have your time, Joe, you have your time, okay? You be the one throwing full-blown temper tantrums in the middle of the flow. Not the floor, the flow. The middle of the flow. But you want to talk about this man? We know that Malik we know he has stuff to work on. But do you want to know why Malik is in and not you? Because of attitude, because of control. Now, he be having a little bit of an attitude too, but he don't take it to the level that you do. So I didn't like all of them little side comments that was making me mad, okay? So then we start getting the people off the bench, like I was talking about the reserves and stuff. They start getting in and then they start heating up, okay? Bolin was on fire. White boy, he was hitting them threes. He was hitting them threes left and right. I don't even know how many threes he made, but he made a whole fucking lot. But Malik, on the other hand, that's why I said, Joe, I get what you saying, but it ain't for you to correct, okay? Malik wasn't trying. He was not trying. This nigga was like doing the bare fucking minimum, walking up and down the court, not really trying to get no rebounds, not trying to block, just not even a stick, a poster, a stamp, or nothing. Wasn't even fucking attempting, okay? So they end up throwing Joe in the game, right? Okay. This is what I mean, Joe. Okay, so Joe gets in the game, and like one of the first sequences we see, Deshaun gets the ball, and you can see that Joe is open, but Deshaun didn't throw the ball to him. It's just simply because he didn't see him, and he said that he was like, "My bad, like that's on me, like I did not see you there." And then I think it happened maybe like one or two more times after that, and then what happens? He starts getting frustrated. I don't want to do this no more. I don't want to do no more. Like. Him, and that's my thing, Joe. You can't talk because you and Malik were both trash as fuck. Especially in the beginning. Y'all were fucking trash. Trash, 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 trash. So then they go to halftime, and you know, Coach Mosley's like, we need to stop with the fucking turnovers. It's getting too much. Stop with the turnovers. Just keep the daggone ball. Keep the ball. Don't turn it over. It's just that simple, okay? And then he was talking about, you know, like Malik, like, what are you doing? Malik, you need to start bullying. And I keep saying this, but you need to start bullying niggas on this court. You are too tall and too big to not just be walking down the fucking court and knocking niggas out left and right. You too big for that. Use that weight, dog. Use that big weight. Big dog. Boss up on these niggas. Fuck out of here. Like, do that. So then, we get back into the game or whatever, right? And Sean, again, having a really bad slump. You gotta wait. You gotta wait, hun. You gotta wait. He was having a bad slump or whatever. And, you know, because he was fucking up left and right, you know, he ended up getting pulled out of the game. And, of course, he gets mad. I mean, I understand being mad about not being in the game, but you're fucking up. You're not hitting any damn shots. You're fucking up. Like, so just stop. Before you make, like, your percentage and your field goal percentage and all of the other shit worse, just sit your ass down. Would you not prefer to be, like, 11 out of 20 than 11 out of 40? Sit your ass down for now. Collect your thoughts. Get your shit together, and then we'll put you back in the game. Okay, it's just that simple. So, you know, they're kind of like bullshitting a little bit. And so when LJ, which is another player, I don't think I've mentioned him once, but he's been on the show a couple times already. Mosley says to him while he's on the court, he was like, you know, Fresno's here to see you, right? You know that? And you're just kind of like lazy up and down the court or whatever. And like, he was like, y'all don't want it. You don't want it. Malik just doesn't fucking want it. And I have in my notes, trash, trash, trash. Because y'all was trash that whole first damn half and part of the third quarter. But then, guess who came through with the come through? My guy, KJ Allen. KJ came through with the come through. He started heating up. Then Joe get back in the game. And he started heating the fuck up. And the only reason he started heating up is because somebody was talking shit. So Joe was like, oh, you want to talk shit? You want to talk shit? All right, bet. And they start heating the fuck up, okay? And so I did see that. I did hear like a little comment about, look at Joe old ass or whatever. Y'all gonna be his age not that much longer. So all of the old shit, you might want to keep it cute because he's still better than all y'all. How about that? Old and all, okay? So I forgot what the hell was wrong in the huddle up. Something happened in the damn huddle up. And Coach Mosley cursed some little boy out. But of course, Deshaun being a good leader pretty much encouraged him and stuff like that. So then after they won the game, it was 102-72. They hit the weight room, like I said, which to me is still insanity that y'all did a whole game and y'all still got to hit the weight room. That's insanity, but whatever. So they go there or whatever. And, you know, Mosley's like, I took Deshaun out because he was tired, which is facts. You need to sit your ass down. So I don't know who said, somebody said something to Coach Mosley. And then when they was all together, he pretty much said that he was concerned about them not getting scholarships because they wasn't giving they all. LJ, you didn't even try until I told you that Fresno was here. And at the end of the day, he was like, y'all mad at me for trying to push y'all when I could be with my family. So he just starts up. He's like, I could be with my son. I could be with my daughter. And no, I'm here, but my all into y'all. And y'all want to tell me that y'all don't want to do some shit? I felt them. I fucking felt them. He really cares. Like, that's what it is. The man just cares. He cares. And when y'all come at him like that, it's unnecessary. So yeah, that was episode 4, y'all. I'll be back with episode 5 probably tomorrow. I'm out. Bye.